All right, we are live. It is the Spinnin Backfist show for Friday, August 12th. It is just myself, Robbie, and Big Ev today. Jack, Mac, and Lee couldn't be here, unfortunately, and we're doing it via Zoom. We're both like out of town, so we can't do it in the office, unfortunately. But maybe the internet will be better.
Should be significantly better. Maybe the best it's ever been.
We did try to do a show on Tuesday, and the internet was so bad we literally couldn't do a show. So apologies for missing out on that. If you were looking forward to it, or if you were looking for the show on Tuesday, but we're here. We're here to talk about last week's fights, this week's fights, PFL, UFC, Bellator. Even if you want to talk Bellator, because there's Bellator stuff going on, MMA news. Even there's a lot of news. I just pulled up like the top posts from the last week on the Reddit to be like, what did we last talk about? What did we last miss? There's a lot. So I don't know where you want to start, Ev. Do you have any area where you want to start?
I feel like obviously it's been a while at this point, but maybe just quickly run through what happened last week or last
Jamal Hill and Thiago Santos. Yeah. That was it was a great card. Finishes all over the card.
The entire card, only finishes.
Yeah. I was on stage with Pup Punk for the majority of it and had to go back and watch all the finishes, 10 finishes, 10 for 10, crazy shit. But I actually made it home in time for the main event. We were like debating what to do. Everyone was going out after Pup Punk. And I was like, no, we can make it home in time for the main event. Let's go order Taco Bell. That's what we did. And our guy, Jamal Hill, friend of the program, got a big dub and a fucking war too. He ate some huge shots in that fight.
No, I think I think that was the one thing that he hadn't totally. I'm trying to think of some of his other fights if he'd really his chin had really been tested like that. But I mean, I really believe I think this is matchup pending, just depending on but I think I'll put it like this. I think he could beat Yuri. I think he can. I'm not saying he definitely would, but I think that fight is I think they're very different, but also very similar at the same time. If that makes sense. Almost like what movie is it? Like The Interview, where there's same but different.
Yeah.
They both do some things very they both like to keep their hands. Well, I'd say Jamal Hill keeps his hands a little higher, but they both like that flowy that striking. I think they both have showed they have a big chin. They both can eat a big punch. I think a fight with Jamal Hill and Yuri would be absolute fireworks. Now I think we haven't seen Jamal Hill's wrestling defense get fully tested. We definitely saw some of that this weekend or last weekend. I think he proved that to be pretty strong. But I'd be curious how he would do against an Ankleev or or even a Glover at this point. Even though Glover's old or older at least, not disrespect the former champ, but I think he's right. I think he's number 6 now. I think he belongs in that top 5. I think he legitimately is a guy that deserves to be there and is going to be up there for a long time. I really believe that.
And we talked about it a little bit. He had a weird hematoma thing going on in his eye. It was I haven't seen one in that position on a fighter before. The way it was kind of drooping down over his eye.
Yeah, it was literally his eyebrow. It pretty much was directly on his eyebrow. It
was fucked up. It's very strange.
It almost looked like it might have been from a headbutt, just the way it, because it had it and then it ended up getting a little cut in the middle of it as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, he overall was good. I think the one thing that a lot of people came from that questioning was his cardio. Was that he obviously if you watched obviously the main event after he got the finish, which he had to sell out for, and they made him rain punches. So I could see what he was absolutely exhausted. I think that fight could have been stopped 20 seconds before it was. Probably.
Absolutely.
He just
I
tweeted,
they made him going to let him die in there.
That's what they made him just beat on Santos. So Santos had to basically say he didn't say this, but. Basically, it was he's not getting up. He's clearly sitting there eating punches, waiting for you to stop it. It's over. He has nothing left. But, I mean, he showed the chin. I mean, he showed the heart, clearly.
Of course.
I was very surprised going into that round that 2 of the judges had it 2-1 for Santos, which was stunning to me. I didn't want to bring that up. I thought that was shocking. I thought that Santos at most had won 1 round. Because of the takedown control, and really didn't do a ton of damage when he had the control on the ground. So I was surprised by that. I thought Hill was up 2-1, if not 3-0. I thought 2-1 definitely. So I was very surprised to see that. I
thought the takedowns and control probably did enough for the judges in one of the rounds, but not 2 rounds up.
But I really think he can hang with anybody right now. I think he just has this supreme confidence. I think you've seen it too, especially since the Paul Craig fight. I think he needed that, and he's talked about that a lot in interviews and stuff. That him and Paul Craig are funny, like very friends now after like a heated lead up to that fight, and then he ends up getting his arm snapped very quickly in the fight. They end up doing beers after. I think it's funny. He's talking about he's reached out to Paul Craig. Even his mother reached out to Paul Craig and basically said thank you. Like he needed to be humbled a little bit. That you can't just go over there and just like pick just because he's a great athlete and he's big and he's a good striker. He can't just go just beat everybody up like that. So, I mean, literally since then he's just been knocking everybody out.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm a big believer in Sweet Dreams.
Some other, of course, I am as well. Some other highlights on the card. Unfortunately, our guy Luque, the Sweet Prince, has maybe ridden his final ride. Not final in terms of final fight, but like. I don't know if he's ever going to be that Luque we liked. The
title contending days seem to be over. That one hurt me. I'm a huge Luque guy. That one really hurt.
I like Jeff Neal. I don't dislike him, but Luque's Jersey guy. Yeah.
I don't. It was just great. I just like the Luque. I don't know. Maybe I think you see it with guys in MMA, like just won too many wars, and you just see that the body kind of just starts. The chin doesn't hold up the way it used to when you've been in. Obviously, Luque's been in a ton of like really, really good fights. Yeah. So I don't know, maybe if that because the Bilal fight I thought was going to be an outlier. I thought it was his first time going 5 rounds. Maybe that stopped him from pushing the pace early on like he usually does. And in this fight, he just never moved his head off the center line. I mean, and let me give credit. Jeff Neal looked unbelievable, the best he's ever looked. He legitimately looked like a top 5 welterweight contender in that bout for sure. So I don't want to like poo-poo him. I'm just a big Luque fan, so it broke my heart. But Luque didn't move his head up the center line. He was just getting hammered with that left all night long, and then until he just couldn't take it anymore. I thought he looked better in the second round, so I thought maybe there was a chance he could come out and do something in the third round. But Jeff Neal just took it to him. That clip of him just throwing like 9 left uppercuts in a row was insane. I think that just showed how much Luque just wasn't in the fight because I mean that's one of those things where like it looked sick, but I think a boxing or MMA striker would tell like Jeff Neal like don't do that again because all it takes is just comes with just a straight like a hook and your face is wide open. But Luque just wasn't there. He was just hurt bad.
Some other big wins on this card. Muhammad Usman put a guy's fucking lights out cold. Terrence McKinney, another guy that both of us like. Spivak got a big win. The Spinnin Backfist parlay got a big win.
Yep, back on track. I do want to give a big shout out to who is becoming legitimately one of my favorite fighters to watch. I talked about it a lot in last week's episode. Julianna Miller, the women's tough champion.
Yep.
She is, dude. I don't know if you got a chance to go back and watch the fight. That is what she did in that fight. That's what she did in all of her fights in The Ultimate Fighter. She just comes forward. It was every single fight on the Ultimate Fighter. She was only 2-1 coming into the house. So not a ton of like professional experience. Both fights coming into it, and then the Ultimate Fighter Championship. The whole lead up to it was like, oh, this other person's she's better here, she's better there. Like I don't know how she's gonna beat her. And I tweeted it, and I'm glad some people agreed with me because I thought people were going to get up in arms about it, but they really didn't. She gives me very, like, Diaz brother vibes in her style. Like, she's very, like, she's just a zombie. She has those, like, zombie eyes. She just, like, doesn't get phased. She just is always coming forward, always bringing the action. Like, she can finish you with, like, she doesn't have that, like, crazy, like, one-punch knockout power, but she has that, like, I will take you down and I will submit you. I will just, like, just drain punches on you until you quit. And I'm telling you, all 3 fights that I watched her, they all lead up to it. She's not as good here. She's not as good here. She's going to, like, this is how it's going to happen. Like, and then every single time she just, like, she ran through them, all 3 of her opponents. Not just, like, beat them, like, dominated them. Ran through them, finished them, all 3. I think she's going to be very exciting. She's just, like, an exciting fighter.
Another huge fight that happened. This one was on Tuesday, though, that Logan DeWolf pointed out right away. He said, I think we have to start with Bo Nickel. Bo Nickel makes his Dana White Contender Series debut in the main event. High-pressure situation. Everyone's saying, oh, my God, this is crazy, so quick, whatever. He gets a win like that. And then Dana White says, hold on, I'm not going to sign you right away. We're going to, take our time here. Already has another Dana White's Contender Series fight, though. According to his manager, he's got a fight. I think it's September 27th or.
Yep.
Yeah.
27th.
Crazy, but so far, so good for Bo Nichols. So far, he is, the prospect that he's been promised.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like an absolute freak. The guy he fought in the Contender Series fight, I don't think is very good. But he's kind of – so at first, I was very much kind of in agreement with Dana that it's like, what's the rush? I mean, just take his time with him. But now – and some people were kind of getting pissed off about it, being like, what's the point of him just fighting another fight where he's minus 3,000 again and just wins easily? And once I thought about it that way, I agreed – kind of flipped my mind and agreed to the other side where it's like, what's the point? But I would like to see them give him somebody that actually could give him run. But the problem is – I think he might just be that good that there might not be some regional fighter that can actually get anywhere that could give him real competition. He might just be that much of a freak. I mean, I've had people that I listen to near and dear that I really trust their mindset that think he literally could beat anybody in 185 right now. That he can hang literally in the top.
That
That
so
really
unpredictable. He could submit anyone in the world.
It just is. He's even just watching him against the guy Borrego in the Contender Series fight. He's just such an athlete. You see the way he moves.
He's going to take you down and get you on the
canvas like that. And just how relentless and fast he is. It's interesting. I mean, obviously he's been, or for people who don't know, he's been Masvidal's wrestling coach for a little bit, probably at least a few years. So even though he's only had 2 professional fights, he's been doing MMA training. I think he graduated from Penn State in 2019 or 2020. So he has been doing MMA for a few years now, full time, and everyone who's around him says he's just absolutely special. I would just like to see him fight somebody. I don't know, it's like I said before. I don't know who they're going to get for the Contender Series. One, who's going to take the fight because you're going to lose. Yep. So I just don't know who they're going to get for him that he could be even minus 500 against. That he even remotely closer than 3,000. But I don't know. I guess I don't know. It's going to be interesting because I really think that he's a guy that where. He wins his next Contender Series fight. He's 3-0. And then his first fight in the UFC, he's a feature prelim for a pay-per-view or an opening card for opening fight for a pay-per-view. And I could see him fighting somebody. I could see him fighting somebody in his first fight who's right outside the top 15 at middleweight. I could see them kind of throwing him in that fast. Or someone who's at least very respected. You want who I could see them maybe a I was trying to think kind of a Brad Tavares or a GM3 or I don't know, somebody just somebody that's good at 185.
If he gets handed Hamzat and then Bo Nickel, he gets these crazy prospects.
He's actually fighting. He's fighting on this card this weekend.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
How did I not see that? I like GM3.
He's a pretty big underdog. He's fighting Bruno Silva.
Oh yeah. He's kicking off the card. Oh, no, I did see this.
The main card, I believe.
Yeah.
So I can see them giving someone
this card this weekend isn't amazing.
Yeah, it's not great. I'm surprised for a San Diego kind of a featured fight night, if you will, fans fight night. I thought it'd be packed a little bit more. I was kind of surprised by really great main event, but even the co-main is nothing special.
Yeah, someone pointed that out here in the comments. King Jappy Joseph might be the worst UFC card of the year, but we always say it. These are the cards that sneak up on you, and you get the crazy
100%.
Always, I feel like that happens. Another comment. Go ahead. You could say.
I would say last week's was a little bit like that as well.
Yeah.
People weren't super, super hyped on last week's card.
Michael Anderson. You spoke about Meatball yet? We haven't. Meatball's got to fight. She's fighting at MSG. Dave said in the shadows of the Barstool office. It's true.
Yep.
Right down the block. I can't wait for this. I don't know if Patty's fighting on the card. I don't think he is based on his comments about not wanting to fight in New York. I think Ariel said we're still looking at later in the year for him, maybe the December pay-per-view. But it's Meatball Molly versus Erin Blanchfield. Crazy step up in competition. But she's in the rankings now. Erin's ranked above her. She's 13. Molly's 15. Looking to climb the rankings. And I wrote in my blog, I don't think this was too crazy a take. With another crazy win here, another spinning elbow knockout, let's say. Meatball Molly works her way right into title contention. I'm not saying she'll get Valentina right away, but in that division where Valentina's taking everyone out, there's not a lot of big names, there's not a lot of stars. I honestly think she could be a fight away from Valentina if she gets a win here. When she gets a win, we'll keep it positive here.
Oh yeah, especially I agree with you. It's especially if it was an exciting fashion, she's absolutely right there
at MSG.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, especially when you look
Patty
at
will be there too, even if he's not fighting. Patty will be there to support. I have no doubt in my mind.
I have a weird feeling that he's going to end up fighting, and this is not. I don't know anything. I know nothing. I promise. I just have this instinct that Patty. Well, I know Patty's very smart. And I think every time he says the taxes, that's him saying, "Hey Dana, jack that number up, and I'll see you in November." That's what I think it is. So I'm hoping that maybe that's the case, and they have they do like where it's obviously Adesanya, Poatan, Chandler, Poirier, maybe like one more fight, and then it's just like Molly Blanchfield first fight, and then like Patty versus somebody the next fight. I know it's early. And I know people don't like. I think people are afraid for Patty in this fight. I'm a believer in Patty, and I think this is also a fight they might make down the road since they're both like young hot prospects. McKinney and Patty just really excites me as a fan. I think I'd be shocked if it got out of the first round. I think it'd be absolute fireworks. I think there's a lot of people that think Patty would lose. I don't know that for sure. I'm a big McKinney fan as well. I'm not saying either or would definitely win. But just as a fan, that just gets me. That's a fight that really gets me going.
Yeah.
So I hope that fight gets made at some point in the next few years.
I think Patty absolutely could win that fight, but if he were to lose that fight, that's not a loss to hang your hat on. Like that's not.
I don't think so either. That's why I think because people are kind of obviously people have been giving Patty the whatever. Like he's doing the slow roll thing, which we've talked about a lot. Like I think it's smart. Early in his career, he's got 3 wins in the UFC, all finishes. He's gotten a little bit better each time. With the opponents he's faced, I mean, it's got to jump at some point, like a little bit, to somebody that people like really, really respect. I think he
is 3-0 now. You know, it's like
that's what I'm saying. It's kind of all finishes. Like, I think you got to give him some. Like, I'm not saying throw him to fucking like Gamrot, like Saruki, and I'm not saying just like throw him in like the top 15, but I think he's ready for someone who's like top like 30.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that's reasonable.
The videos of him on Dog Walk, by the way, if you guys haven't watched the Dog Walk with Patty and Molly, it's a must watch if you're a Patty and Molly fan. It is so funny. Even the clips are funny where Molly's telling an inspirational story about training, and he's just like, "Is that terrible, man? That's sick." He's like, "That's fucking awesome." Him talking about how much food he ate in Chicago. It is such a funny podcast. So I would recommend that. Shout out Eddie. Shout out Patty and Molly, of course. And that's going to be awesome. Obviously, the content's going to be off the charts because we were pretty ingrained in everything in London when there was only a couple of us there. Now imagine New York. We're all going to be involved. Like, Molly's going to be at the Barstool office fight week and whatnot. We're going to be talking to her there. It's going to be a really, really fun time. So November 12th, let's go Meatball, Warm Meatball. Some other things. Did we talk about the main event getting set for that, Adesanya and Pereira?
I don't know if we had officially addressed it.
Because I was looking at it 6 days ago. It was officially announced. So I was like,
so maybe not.
Have a podcast in the last 6 days.
It was something. We
that speculated about it, but
I believe we did speculate. Maybe we hadn't officially talked about it. I'm excited. I think this is a fight that is 100% not going to be a snoozer. I know people have been giving Adesanya a lot of shit. I'd like to have his back and say, we briefly when we were trying to record the episode on Tuesday. KFC walked in, and I kind of came to Adesanya's honor a little bit, saying that I do believe that part of it is his opponent's not pushing it forward. I believe that there's something about him being the champ mixed with his style that just being the long kickboxer and the guys he's fought, he's been able to kind of be in cruise control and not take these big risks and just win kind of easily, where I understand people giving him shit over it. Like, it's still, at the end of the day, MMA is an entertainment sport at its highest peak, I think. So obviously him having these like kind of not spectacular decisions 3 in a row has been not great for probably his personal brand. But I also believe if you look at his early fights, whenever people took chances, he was knocking them all out.
Yeah.
So now people are like afraid to take chances, and I think that's hurting his personal brand. But I don't know why he should have to run in and risk getting knocked out just for Joe Schmo 247 to not comment that he's a bum and that he's boring. Because he's one of the best power fighters in the
right
world.
now.
Who?
Perea.
What he weighs in at?
Yeah,
He's definitely
right
bigger
now.
than-
What he's weighing?
I would guess he weighs. I haven't seen it. I'm gonna guess he weighs like 215.
232.
Wow.
He posted.
He's.
That this
I was
week,
gonna say he's
posted the
definitely
scale.
bigger than Adesanya. Much bigger.
Crazy, dude. 232. He's gonna get down to 185 in November. That's crazy.
I mean, I noticed it. I mean, I've noticed it every time he's fought, but even I really noticed it when he did the face-off with Strickland. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Like, he is so much bigger than him. He's a freak. He's an absolute freak. I mean, they're going to bring it to each other. And I think it's just, obviously the way it's been set up by the UFC is perfect. That they're like, now, I'm telling you that KO and kickboxing is going to be just ran in a loop for the entire, 3 weeks leading up to it.
And that's got to give him confidence, right? Like, to even come forward. Like, I've knocked this guy out before. That just, in human instinct, leads me to believe that will give him confidence leading into the fight. Even though he was getting pieced up in the fight before that.
Yeah, I'm very curious to kind of see how. I think it is going to be fireworks, but it's funny because even in that fight, it was one of those where I said it. I think it is going to be fireworks, but I'm now giving it even deeper thought. I'm having some pause because I think Adesanya's route to victory would probably be staying on the outside, even though they're both very long. Mm-hmm. In that kickboxing match, Adesanya was winning every round.
Yeah.
And then he just got hit with a big left hand, and Adesanya kind of said that was a learning lesson for him, that when you're winning, you don't need, when you're up, you don't need to take these big risks and get kind of cocky and stupid.
Which is tough. That's
we
still want him to.
That's what I'm saying. Of course you want him
cloudy too. Let me see if I could.
And Poatan, I mean, and Pereira is literally
better.
I mean, definitely the hardest puncher that he's fought in the UFC, in my opinion.
Costa's pretty hard puncher, but yeah.
Or I mean, maybe you could say Blachowicz just because he went up in weight, but
yeah, true.
But I mean,
Poatan
has that he just has that death touch.
Yeah, two things that kind of go together here. Uriah Hall retires from MMA in the middle of the night. I thought that was kind of weird. I woke up to that text in our group chat, Uriah Hall retired at 3 a.m. or something. Legend of the sport, I would say. Not legend, but everyone knows Uriah Hall. Everyone knows his famous knockout. Everyone respects Uriah Hall, I think. And then this one, real sad. Fighter removed, Sam Alvey. Finally. Rest in peace, our sweet king.
Hell of a run.
Hell of a run. I mean, he really got away with it for a long time.
I mean, it was one of those where I think I talked about in the group chat. I don't know if you got to go back and watch the fight.
No, I did not watch the Sam Alvey fight.
Mike, I always fuck up his last name because it's crazy. It has a million consonants all right next to each other. But Michael, I'll call him, but whatever you want to. He gave Sam Alvey such little respect in terms of the way he approached him as a fighter. He approached him the way a trained fighter would fight a dude on the street, where he's just I know I'm just gonna run through this guy and knock him out. He came at him Sam Alvey had his arms tied behind his back.
Oh man, poor Sam.
I'm
sure he's smiling through it all. He's smiling through it all.
I don't think he was smiling. He got knocked out pretty bad.
Well, he's always smiling. I'm sure right now he's smiling.
I'm sure he was smiling after. And I felt bad because literally moments before the fight, they're his entire family is cage side, and I was like, this is a bad idea. I was like, he's minus. I was like, the guy he's facing is a 700 minus 700 favorite against them, who was my lock of the night to he's gonna knock him out. I couldn't see how he couldn't, and then that's exactly what he did. Because even the reason I say the disrespect thing is because not little disrespect, but Michael is very, very technical, and it was his first time coming down from 205 to 185, where at 205 he was always giving up so much size. And I still when he fought Jacoby, that was actually the first fight I bet on him against Jacoby. That was the class when I told Jacoby I bet against him, and now that's over. Yeah. But Jacoby I was so much bigger than him, and Jacoby definitely won the fight. But I respected how much I was able to just hold his own, and really was able to compete striking with him. So I thought going down to 185, I was he could be a monster. And then the way he came at Alvey, he just was so less technical than I'd seen him in the past. He just came at him I'm just going to throw punches. I'm going to knock this guy out, and that was what he did. But shout out Sam Alvey.
Shout out Sam Alvey. Hell of a run in the UFC. Hell of a run. Let's talk about this weekend's fight night, the UFC San Diego card. Vera versus Cruz at the top. Awesome main event. Truly awesome. Did you see the clip of them talking to each other this week where they were like, Vera's like, I'm prepared to die in there. I fight for my family. Like, I'm ready to kill, whatever. Cruz was like, it's a great day to die because I do the same exact fucking thing.
It's funny. Cruz can be like such a smug asshole, but he's great on the mic though.
Yeah.
Like I love like even
talking shit about DC again.
Yeah, just like he's not watching.
He's like, no, absolutely not. He called him a golden fluffer. He's like, he'll fucking say whatever you want to hear and make you like him. I was like, oh my God. All right, chill out. Dude. He's still your colleague.
It's just funny because like Cruz, he's just so he has like no how do I say this the right way?
Like no filter?
Not even no filter. He does kind of not really have a filter, but I was gonna say, even though I like him, he kind of almost has like no likable qualities, even though he can be he sometimes can be such a dickhead it makes me like him. Like he's just such an asshole. Like
that's how he got under like Team Alpha Male skin for so many years. All of them. He's just like such Dillashaw, a dick. Faber, like every single one of them. He was just like such a smug asshole too, and they didn't know how to combat it. They were just like,
I actually like this week I watched just all of that, watching Vera stuff, Cruz stuff, like doing some tape on the fights, and I watched like a 10-minute video. It was just like Cruz like eviscerating his opponents leading up to fights, and just like a montage of him talking shit to him. It was like Garbrandt, fucking like your Faber, like all these guys. He was just like even though it was funny, like even Garbrandt, who like he ended up looking like an idiot because he basically was like, "You're not going to touch me," and Garbrandt was knocked him down like 3 or 4 times.
Did the opposite. Cruz couldn't touch him. It was crazy.
Yeah,
he was doing the thing, watching his punches.
Yeah, he was doing like the
everything. Yeah.
But even hearing him post being wrong, he's just such a smart like fight IQ and such a smart like fight mind. It's just like fascinating. If you're like a fan of the sport, it's fascinating to watch him just talk about it because he really just knows.
I think he's a great commentator too.
Fantastic commentator.
Even smug on commentary.
He's a great commentator. He just has zero personality.
Yeah. That's why DC kind of evens him out. It's nice.
The word I was going to say he doesn't have a lot of charisma. That's the word I was going to use. No, he just is very like not.
I've never heard him scream like. Yeah. Well, I guess he got pretty mad at No Nonsense Keith.
He won't fight if he's reffing.
Yeah.
He refuses. Like if Peterson's ref, like he said, he won't fight if Keith Peterson's reffing his fight.
Early card tomorrow, right? 4 p.m. start.
I believe so.
I believe it's actually 4 p.m. prelims.
Oh yes, 4 o'clock.
And then 7 p.m. main card.
Yep.
Kicks off with a bantamweight fight: Youssef Salal versus Damon Blackshear. Any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, love me some Salal.
Yeah.
He's coming down from 145. Even though he had a lot of success at 145. He's definitely more of a
last two. Right.
He had won a few before that, I believe. Who did he lose to his last two at 45?
Chong Soo Woo and Sean Woodson.
Okay, so pretty good. Not bad competition. I do think at 135
and also lost to Ilya Taporia. Remember that correctly? Ilya took him to decision. Nope. Beat Peter Barrett and lost to Jordan Griffin. Or no, beat Jordan Griffin. Griffin.
I'm sorry, I knew he had a few wins there. I think he should do well in this fight and at 135 in general. Blackshear's making his debut. I'm pretty sure he's a regional champion. But I do like Salal quite a bit here. For me, like I said, he is more of a decision fighter. He's only minus like 129 right now on the money line. I like him on the money, just straight on the money line. Maybe if you want to take him by decision, I'll get a quick line check here. By decision, he is plus 150. That makes sense. He's a decision fighter, so I didn't think that line was going to be too crazy. So I like a money line. If you want to like really go after, get the plus sign, I'd go via decision. But I'm pretty confident Salal here. I like Salal.
And then up next, a catchweight bout between Jason Witt and Josh Quinlan. Was this supposed to happen and then got pushed? Or was this always going to happen on this card?
Yeah, it's a weird thing. It's supposed to be on the last week's card.
Yeah.
It was a weird thing. So Quinlan, who I guess had he was I think we talked about in the lead up to it, because obviously he was supposed to fight last week. He was on like last year's Contender Series.
Yep.
And then I'm pretty sure he had kind of like a doping incident. And
Yes,
then this lead up to this fight, he apparently had another one again, where they said it was like a very, very small trace or something like that. But he is fighting this week. So yeah, there we go. Quinlan. Yeah, I knew it was a doping incident the first time, and I believe there was something because it was going like not viral, but just MMA streets were hot about it that he basically didn't fight for like almost a year because of the doping thing. And I don't think it was a real suspension. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but he did test for something. And then the lead up to this fight, he had a small trace of something, and they postponed it a week. I think he's going to kill Witt. I think he's kind of just like a. I believe he's undefeated.
Favorite, right?
He's kind of just like a big brawler type. Like he just comes forward, and that's pretty much what he did in his Contender Series fight. And I mean, Witt's extremely hittable. So I like Quinlan as even a parlay piece. Let me see what he is even by, because I think even by knockout he's going to be like minus money. But I really think that's the most likely outcome. So I like him as a parlay piece. I do like him by knockout. By knockout he's plus 100. Or even just by finish. We want to just go by. I think he does finish him. By finish, he's minus like 135. I don't hate that either. Dropping earbuds here. But yeah, I like Quinlan. I think he should dominate.
Up next is my guy, Ode Osborne. I love me some Ode Osborne. Ode Osborne versus Tyson Nam.
That's a great
fight here. I think Ode Osborne's a sizable favorite.
Minus 275.
275.
Yeah, 275.
Yeah. I like Ode Osborne here. I love watching him fight. Got a knockout in his last fight.
I do too. I love this knockout. He had the slip and he landed the big right hook, and then he ended up the guy he fought ate like 3 punches that was like asleep for, and that he should not have had to eat. But this is tough because I am a fan of Tyson Nam, and I think Nam's pretty good. I think it's tough for me because I do think Osborne should win. However, I think the line is big. Like I think Nam should have a little more respect. I don't hate the thought of betting Nam as an underdog, even though I do think Osborne is better. The fight I don't hate as a parlay piece either, or just play in general. Fight to not go the distance is minus like 150. I think this is going to be fireworks. They're two like very good strikers, and the only problem I do think if someone was more likely to get a knockout, it would be Osborne.
Yeah.
So Osborne by finish is plus 115. And by knockout, he is plus 205. I don't hate that.
Yeah.
So this is a tough for me. I know I'm kind of talking all over both sides of my mouth. But if you're on the Osborne side, I almost think he's either a parlay piece or play him by knockout or something like that. But if you want to play like anyone that want to play Nam, I wouldn't follow you because I do think Nam is very good.
Women's flyweight division, Cynthia Calvillo versus Nina Nunez. This was another fight that we broke down that was supposed to happen, right? And then got pushed.
No, that was a Lipsky fight.
The Lipsky fight. Oh, which will be later.
Ariana Lipsky.
Card.
Yeah.
Is on the main
card. That was supposed to be on last week's card.
Yes. So this one, Cynthia Calvillo, the formerly known as Chick Diaz. Haven't really heard people call her that in a while. I think she kind of lost the nickname when she stopped putting on Diaz-like fights.
Julianna Miller is the next one.
Yeah, she could be. What do you think of this fight?
I kind of like Nina Nunez to maybe get it done here as a dog.
A little dog, yeah.
Little that winning
150,
energy.
175-ish?
150. A little bit of that winning energy from the wife.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. There's something about that
coming
winning.
Up for the Nunez's, yeah.
Yeah, they're winning big right now. Good camp. It's funny that Amanda Nunez had her own camp, and Nina Nunez is still at AT&T.
Yeah, that is interesting.
But I don't fault. I mean, fighting's a very personal sport. You got to do what's best for you, and obviously the two of them, even as a couple, they obviously understand that. I think she's live as a dog here. I think plus 150 is not a bad play. I'll probably have a little something on her plus 150.
Yeah, I would feel weird betting on Cynthia Calvillo. What is she, minus 150-ish?
190.
I would not want to lay that on her. I don't trust her enough.
No.
What's up next here? Martin Boudet versus Lucas Brzeski. in the heavyweight division here.
Yeah, Boudet's lines came up quite a bit, and I think for proper reasons. He opened around minus like 200. He's up to almost minus 300. He's minus 295 in the Barstool Sportsbook right now. I like Boudet. I think he's a parlay piece as well.
Okay.
I don't like laying minus 300 money lining guys unless I'm like, I have to be like they have to be like Khabib. Like I have to be like over the moon confident. I like him as I think he's a strong parlay piece.
Yeah.
I think he should get the job done. I think he's much better.
And then the featured prelim here is Angela Hill versus Lupita Godinez. Is that how you say it? Godinez?
Yeah, Godinez.
In a catchweight bout. It's I like Angela Hill fights. When this is the featured prelim, though, it's a rough card. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Angela Hill losing a split, like even money.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think. Let me see. What is this? This fight to go to distance has got to be minus like 300. Yeah, I was gonna this fight to go the distance could be a parlay piece. Neither of them finish anything. So, but it's minus.
And then watch, someone's gonna get a fucking twister when we say that.
Someone's gonna like twist their ankle. It's more likely.
Yeah, true.
I'll probably
Ryan
stay
Grant
away.
says loopy season.
Yeah, like I don't hate like Lupe. Like I probably won't do it for us, and we all talk about it more. But just because Angela Hill, you never know. She does have good striking.
Yeah,
so
I root for Angela.
Maybe she finally gets a split decision on her behalf. I do think Lupita is going to win the fight. So I personally wouldn't bet on Angela Hill, but
yeah,
I mean, and it's women's MMA. Anyone who want to take a shot at a plus like 280 dog, I'm not going to sit there and be like, you're an idiot. Yeah, I mean, even to go the distance, we could do a parlay piece. Probably not even worth it, to be honest. But I think it's like I'd be shocked if there was a finish.
Yeah. And then before we get into the main card, let's talk about PFL. We've got an awesome PFL card coming from London tomorrow, live Saturday, August 13th. If you're listening to this today, tomorrow, I don't know when. And the qualifiers are at 4:30 on ESPN Plus Eastern Time. And then at 2 p.m. on ESPN and ESPN Plus, you've got the actual card. It's going to be an awesome card. Rory McDonald on the card. There's a ton of good fights on this. I'm looking at the matchups right now. You could see it all on PFLMMA.com. We just went to PFL at the Garden. That was a good time. Unfortunately, once again, maybe we were the kiss of death for Anthony Pettis. We stayed away from him this time, though.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. That's my guy. I got to see our guy Don Davis for a little bit actually after you left. We were both mourning about our guy. Yeah, got to see him for a second, gave him a hug, shot the shit a little bit. Showtime is tough. Big show, big Don Davis guy, big Showtime guy. Tough to see that he broke. You
and Don Davis are boys. He was pushing you last time. You guys were
we hugged.
Roughhousing.
We're at the point where we do like a dap hug.
Yeah,
big Don Davis guy.
Great guy. We love us some PFL over here.
After the Don Davis thing, I swear to God, I had a moment where I was like, if I don't plan on this ever happening, but God forbid, if Dave just like fired me, I think Don Davis might be the first call I'd make. I'm dead serious and be like, yo, I need a job. Like I need a job.
Yeah. He would probably be like, Ev, I love it. Come in.
I'd be like, Don, whatever you need. I'll sweep floors. I'll sit up the mat. You
would be the new like face-off guy. You would be like, come on, keep him away.
I'd be like, let me guard. Be the I'd try to work. I'd be like, let me be your Sean Shelby. Let me work with
yeah.
I feel disrespect. What's his name? He is the matchmaker.
Ray Sarah.
Ray, yes, I knew the name. I didn't want to disrespect him.
Is that his name?
But he's great. I think so. Something like that.
Should know.
But anyways,
legend
Don
himself.
Davis. Love you, Don. But
great PFL card on ESPN though. We love us some PFL.
I think
there's stuff you could bet on the Barstool Sportsbook as well.
I like Sadiq. He's like around a pick'em. I think he should win. Even though Rory's minus 200, I like Rory a lot. I think Rory should. He's facing a guy that's coming on short notice. I think Rory's ready for this. I think Rory's going to win that division. I think he's going to be the 170 champ and win the $1 million, but obviously he's going to win this fight first. I like Rory a lot as well in the main event. Really excited. Obviously, I'm sure we'll get into it next week. Really excited about the one after as well with the featherweights.
Yep.
Our guy Chris Wade. But
Yep.
now this card's going to be unbelievable. A lot of also I've been hearing a lot of buzz from like some of the European like MMA reporters I follow. A lot of buzz from the qualifying fights about some really, really hot European prospects. So I think there should be some really, really good fights. Not only on the main card.
Going to be awesome.
Oh,
give
always.
A European
Always.
MMA crowd. It's going to be amazing. So make sure you
Wales,
tune in.
baby. Wales.
Yeah, it'll be a full day of fighting. You know, you watch PFL, leads right into the UFC. It's beautiful.
Yep.
And now let's get into the UFC main card, which kicks off with Bruno Silva versus GM3. I'm going to have people in the chat going, you mispronounced Silva now? Like you said, GM3 is the dog here. But I always root for GM3. I'd like him to pull this one out. He cracks me up on Twitter. Sometimes he likes my tweets. I believe he's a musician himself as well. I think he plays guitar or bass or something. I think we've tweeted about that in the past. Maybe me and GM3 should start a band together. Oh, check this out. Hi from Germany.
Germany. Shout out Germany.
Guten Tag, right? That's how I am in German. Idea. Yeah. What's going
Hello,
on?
Germany.
Love that we got a little German audience. Yeah. I assume you don't like GM3 in this fight.
I don't hate him. I think he's gonna have to weather the storm. But we've seen him do things like that. Like, I actually don't think I'll put it this way. I have enough respect for GM3. I don't want Bruno in the parlay. Could he listen? He has big time power. He actually, honestly, he slugged it out with Poatan, which looking back on it now is very like that's aged well since then. He could go like just go like berserker mode and just run through GM3 and just throw punches and knock him out, sure, because he's a big, powerful, strong guy. But I think if he's not able to do that, like if he's not able to get GM3 out of there in the first round or like early second round, I think GM3 becomes very, very live. Mm-hmm. Like I think this has potential to be like, I think it's going to be either a Silva gets a big knockout early, or GM3 could pull out a crafty like just rear naked choke late when he gets a takedown late. Silva gets tired, he gets his back. So I even think so. Mearshard, he's plus 240 money line. I believe you're going to bet him in this fight. Bet him by sub. He's plus 540. I think if he's going to win, I think that's the way. Agreed. Also, if you want to get crazy, I think Mearshard winning in like round 3 is like. Let me see what the price on this, but I think that's a good bet as well. Where's Mearshot round 3? Mearshot round 3 is plus 2,000, like 20-1. I think that's a good play as well. I think if he gets it done, that could be very well how he does. I think it's kind of like a one or the other thing. But Bruno's a tough guy, so he's won a lot of fights. He's a big, strong guy, hits hard. So it's one of those where he could go and knock him out, and you could sit there and be like, oh, Bruno looked minus 1,000. But I also think he could go in there and like GM3 could eat a couple punches, hang in there, maybe lose the first round, and then all of a sudden Bruno, because that was a big thing at the end of that fight with Poatan with Bruno that Pereira just won. Basically, he just had more gas. Yeah, like Bruno was exhausted in that third round, absolutely exhausted. And I think that's where a guy like GM3, he is a little more in the tank. The crafty vet could come around and jump on that back, take that neck. We've seen him do it recently to some guys that he was a big underdog against. Like I don't think it's crazy.
Reminds me almost of Paul Craig in that way, where it's you can't count him out. It's like they still have like there's something about him where you're like they might get a submission.
Yeah, Craig, I'd probably give credit to a little better chin, but overall, I would agree with you. The general
pulled that off more, but similar.
I mean, he did it to Murdoch. Like Murdoch, I like that guy. He was I think like undefeated, only had one loss. Yeah, and he was beating up GM3 bad, and GM3 just like pulled it off, and he had to be plus like 300-400 in that fight.
Yeah. Next fight is the one that was rescheduled, the Lipsky versus Priscilla Cachoeira one. I think last time we talked about this, I think we leaned to Lipsky, both of us, right?
I like Lipsky quite a bit. The only thing that makes me pause is she had the health concerns. That was basically why that was part of why they moved it back. She missed weight. She missed weight and she did not look good on the scale either. I'm gonna still have confidence in her and ride with her just because I do think she's much better all around. and Priscilla's just very, very, very hittable. I like Lipski. I think Lipski, even inside the distance, is a good play. But I like Lipski pretty confidently. I just think she's a lot better.
Devin Clark versus Azamat Mirzakhanov. Is that how you say that? Azamat is undefeated, 11-0. I don't know what it is about Devin Clark. There's something about Devin Clark I like as the underdog in this fight.
I kind of like what he's done since going up to heavyweight as well. I think he's a live dog here. Like, I think this is another one where I think he can kind of grind him out. I was just doing this quick just to make sure I was
like
thinking
round 3.
Mm-hmm. So Azamat, if you remember, he actually kind of saved one of our plays and I think hit his last fight where he was losing. It was like the first fight that he was clearly down 2-0, and he came out and landed that big knee early in the third round and just knocked out in Chekwi,
was that
the guy
Singapore, or was that earlier even?
No, way before.
Yeah.
So it's the guy who Olberg knocked out in his last fight. That was who Azamat fought, and he knocked him out in the third round after he was clearly down 2-0.
What's that fucking?
I think Clark could potentially grind him out here. I don't think Azamat's that good. I think Clark's a live dog. It's even late as well, but he's plus money, so I'm gonna. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play Clark on the money line. Yeah. I think he's very, very live. I think this is even a fight where he could potentially look like the line was a huge mistake.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna power through these final fights because I do got to be out of here at 1. But the next fight on the card is, where is he? I lost it for a second. Oh, it's the women's strawweight fight. Yasmine versus Easement. This is the battle of the means. Yasmine, Easement. They could be like evil twins.
It's a great name fight.
It is a great name fight. Yasmine, I think, is the heavy favorite, 2-1.
Minus 205. Fair.
Is that how you say that? 2-1.
Yeah. Close. Yeah, essentially, yeah.
I didn't know if that was just for dogs. If you just called like 2-1 dogs, or if it's.
Oh well, I guess technically. I guess technically it should be 1-2 actually.
Yeah. So
no, I guess 2-1. Yeah. Same shit.
Yeah. It is what it is.
I kind of like Lucindo as the dog here. I don't know, just in these like women's fights, I like when these lines like this, like I just feel like this could be a coin flip fight. So for me,
I
it's
don't remember either of these girls enough.
Yeah, listen, I do like Lucindo. I'm pretty sure Lucindo might. I watched some of her fights on YouTube. If I remember correctly, I think she might be making her debut in the UFC.
I think both of these girls are actually.
I was gonna say that.
Yeah, both of these girls may. That's why I don't remember them. I've never seen them fight.
I was gonna say I knew Lucindo had more experience.
How is this main card? No offense to them.
Yeah, I know
there's some prelims that are like, have people that are UFC recognizable names.
They both are finishers, and I know the Uragal. I know she's like a big prospect that people are very excited about. But Lucindo is kind of the same way a little bit. Like she's a finisher as well. So I think they're kind of thinking like this is a women's fight that has a very good chance to like be a finish, which obviously they love to promote that.
Yeah. Even
though actually it's kind of like even though it actually is minus 155 to go the distance. Yeah, I like Lucindo as the dog. Not like crazy confident, but I'm going to play it. I think she's fought better competition. The other girl's kind of like a big, I think she's a little bit more, even though, like you said, they're both making their debuts. I think Yasmine's a little bit more like unknownish in terms of like the competition she's faced. So I like taking a shot at the plus 165 dog.
In the next fight, we've got the co-main event, Nate Landwehr versus David Onama. I think David Onama is a heavy favorite, and I think that line is pretty right. Yep. I think Onama's going to run through him.
Yeah, I like the line that I like the most is Onama by sub, just because it's a big line, and I think Onama should run through him. He just said I would even play him as a parlay piece as well.
Yeah,
he's just much bigger. He's much stronger. I think a parlay. I think he showed his submission game in the last fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's plus 600 by submission. I think that's a good play. Like Landwehr's a pretty tough guy. I think a submission might even be more likely than a knockout, even though Onama is definitely a hard hitter. But
yeah,
I like the sub plus 600.
Could even be like a club and sub here where he knocks him down
for sure,
slaps something on him
for sure. I think
and then the main event,
very live.
The fight that this whole card is built around, and rightfully so. Marlon Chito Vera versus Dominic Cruz. This is an awesome fight. I'm glad that these guys took this because Cruz is, very picky with who he accepts as opponents, but this is a rightful opponent for him. This is like an awesome fight. What are the odds on this on the sportsbook right now? I'm seeing Cruz plus 200-ish.
It's went up quite a bit. Like it opened, I believe Vera minus like 190 and Cruz plus 150. And now it's even got up to, I believe it's Vera's minus like 235, which I'm pretty surprised by, to be totally honest. Yeah, he's minus 235. Cruz is plus 185. This is a really interesting one for me because watching Vera's last fights have been very interesting. Where, like, I actually just this week I rewatched the Rob Font Vera fight, and Vera, it's like so fascinating because I would advise anyone to go watch it if you don't like fully remember the fights, you understand what I'm about to say, but it was like Font was winning massive chunks of the fight, and then he would just get rocked. And, like, Vera would just, like, take the round. And it happened literally, like, 3 times in a row where Font, like, I think Font won the first round, like, clearly. And, like, but it was, like, every round. He would, like, win. Like, he'd win exchanges. His, like, Vera clearly, every time when Vera touched Font, he was way more hurt than when he hit Vera a bunch of times. And Vera kind of was never crazy phased by it. But he ate a lot of punches. But I'm telling you, Font was winning like 3-4 minute chunks at a time. And then he would just get like hit really, he would get dropped. He'd get rocked really badly. He'd be on the ground. I think it was even the third round, I think it was, if I remember correctly. He was eating some big ground and pound where it almost could have been stopped. And that was one of those fights. I don't know how the fuck it went the distance, but it did. But weird fight. It's hard to like, his fights have been hard to like kind of judge them, like how good he is. I think he has become a winner, and the guy's just tough as nails, because even the Frankie Edgar fight was similar, where not similar, but he was losing, in my opinion. He was down in the cards and then landed a massive front kick knockout. So
excited about Frankie, being like, oh my god,
I was like, oh, he's gonna win.
And
then he just gets knocked. And give Vera the credit, like that was a insane front kick knockout,
all time front kick,
for sure. But it's hard for me to tell. And Cruz has looked good. His chin, like, he got knocked down twice by Pedro in that first round, but then clearly like came back and won the next 2 rounds, won the fight. He beat Casey Kenny in like a pretty close fight. Good fight though. I thought Cruz won the fight. This is a really hard one for me to judge. Like, this might be just watch me as a fan. Maybe even just take Cruz as the underdog just because he's such a big dog and I have so much respect for him as a fighter.
What's gonna happen. I agree with you. I have no idea.
It's really tough. Like but Vera has this very like. I think is starting to get respect for how much of a killer he is and how like he just hits hard as hell.
Yeah,
and he's like unbreakable.
And like he'll obviously
he'll lose a decision, but like I'd be absolutely shocked if Cruz finished Marlon Vera. Shocked.
Who do you think the 5 rounds benefits more, if it does benefit one of them more?
I mean, it'd be tough not to say Cruz just because he has the experience. I kind of think Cruz,
yeah.
It's. I think it'd be hard not to say him, but I mean, Vera's went 5 rounds before.
Yeah,
we saw him do it with Rob Font.
Yeah,
and he was still hitting. He was still landing like
cardio. Yeah,
big, like still landing big time punches later in later rounds. So I'd have to say Cruz, but I don't think it's this like massive advantage he has that it's 5 rounds. But I'd give him the nod if I had to for that. Yeah, I guess I'll say Cruz as an underdog if I was going to play this, and just because I'll need once the main event 5 minutes before it tips off, I'm sure I'll put it in. But it's kind of like in terms of like an official card play, I'd say it's like a no play for me because it's such a hard fight to handicap. But if I had like gun to my head, I would play Cruz at the plus money just because it's gotten wide enough that I'm like, if you're going to give me Cruz at almost plus 200, who knows if it gets to 200, I'll say this: if it gets to 200, it's on the official card. So then I think it's almost just disrespectful.
Yeah. Yeah, former champ. What do you think for the parlay then?
So what I like Boudet. Boudet I like.
Yep.
Let's see. Boudet I like Onama.
Do you like Osborne enough? Ode Osborne? No, because you said you like Tyson Nam.
I respect Tyson Nam.
Yeah.
I do think he should win, but
Boudet, Onama.
there was why am I feel like I'm like missing.
Oh, we didn't talk about Gabriel Benitez's fight. And
I was just gonna say that. Yeah,
I skipped
that
over.
one's...
Is that not on the Google? He's still fighting, right?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure he is.
Oh no, it's on Google. I must have just skipped over that.
Probably a stay away from me, to be honest. I'm not like crazy about it.
Okay.
Why am I feel like I'm
want to throw on like
I would even put
distance.
I would put oh, this is what I would put Quinlan in it.
Yeah.
For some reason I was passing over a few. I don't know why. I was like throwing me off. So I said Quinlan I like.
What are those three?
I like. Let me see what that would
Onama?
be. So Quinlan, Onama, and Boudet is plus 137.
I don't hate going for these 3-leggers and just kind of stacking them for a bit.
So I just want to throw this out there. Just conversation point.
All right.
Lipsky in the mix would make it plus 255. Just throwing it out there.
Ooh, I like that.
Or
I kind of like that.
And she's on the main card, so it's not like she would have, even though I think some of these fights are a little earlier. So like Quinlan's on the prelims. I think all the other ones are on the main card. So, and I really do think Quinlan should run through a win. I think he just has more power. I think he should.
Let's go with it. Fuck it.
4 legs.
4 legs. Can you text that to Jack after we go on? Cool.
So the official is Martin Boudet, David Onama, Josh Quinlan, Arian Lipsky. 4.
Love it.
Which hopefully that
All
can get us maybe
legs.
close to 300.
Yeah.
With the boost.
So check it out on the Barstool Sportsbook. Obviously, check out PFL tomorrow as well. Thank you to PFL for sponsoring the pod as always. We appreciate you guys. And thank you to everyone for tuning in today. Sorry for no show on Tuesday, but we'll be back next week and we'll have some in-studio guests next week. So look out for that.
Let's go.